Hello everyone, back out with another video. We have my week 1 NFL playoff predictions. This is my, let's see, I did it the 2019 season, did it the 2020 season, and I think I did it the 2018 season. Yep. So this is my 4th year of playoff predictions, since I've been on YouTube for 4 years. That is something I don't like to think about, or it's crazy to me. But let's hop right on into it. This season, actually, let's not hop right on into it. Got a few things we got to discuss first. This season is a new season. There's 18 weeks of the season, but that means every team's gonna play 17 games. So instead of a team potentially going for 16-0, 0-16, like the standard in years past, it is now 17 games. So they could go 17-0, 0-17, which makes it that much harder to go undefeated. And there's only been one team to ever finish a whole entire undefeated season before. That was the 1972 Miami Dolphins. But with that being said, there are some things that could happen that could, make it put big teams, put a team at a disadvantage here in the next, coming days. The only game that I can probably for sure predict and be, as accurate with injuries and everything about that is tomorrow's game, as I can't predict tomorrow's game on Friday or Saturday, as that's just kind of like redundant at that point. And, I could do 2 separate videos, but I just don't really want to do that. I feel like it'd be smarter just to go from a point on this Wednesday afternoon, and just cover every single game from tomorrow at 8:20 p.m. till Monday at midnight, whenever the Monday night game goes off. This year's also a little different. There's only one Monday night football game. And this time every team will have a bye, like normal. There's no need for, every single team, just because it's 17-week or 18-week season, doesn't mean a team loses a bye. That's why there's 18 weeks to the season, is because a team is not going to play 17 straight games. And with there being an 18-week season, they cut 1 week off of preseason, which I'm not complaining about, and I don't think anyone else is really complaining about, because preseason is kind of boring. If you're it depends on who you are as a person, as a fan. There's a lot of super fans like me that really enjoy preseason, but I don't enjoy preseason. I just like to see how my team, the 49ers, stack up after, whatever, and see what our roster could be looking like. That's what the preseason is going to be used for, or was used for. And now that every single team has trimmed their rosters down by about half, then now the season can start. And we started off with Thursday Night Football. This could potentially be a key matchup. Depending on how many key matchups I have, I see 2 key matchups so far. I'll put a third one. I see about 4 key matchups so far, which I'm fine with having only 4 key matchups. But we have the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This place is going to have a lot of bandwagon fans for Thursday Night Football. But I'm surprised it's not in Jerry's world. But I'm not complaining, because that means Dallas is less likely to win this game because of the referees. So I'm fine with that. So Tampa Bay, I think, is going to win this one by, I don't know, miles. Dallas doesn't have Zach Martin due to certain things, certain ailments that are happening to him. He will not be there for Thursday night's game or tomorrow night's game. But the Dallas Cowboys should be better with Dak Prescott coming back from his injury. Ezekiel Elliott seems to be in his best shape since his rookie season. And then they still have their fabulous receiving core of Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and C.D. Lamb. So that's right there. That right there is a high power offense. I just don't know how that offensive line is going to look. And then the defense is a big question going against the Super Bowl champions who brought everyone back from their Super Bowl winning team last year. I just don't know how it will go. I do feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win this one, as their defense with Todd Bowles as defensive coordinator still is a little bit terrifying in my opinion, and I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win here. Then Sunday afternoon games, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a key matchup. We're going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I think the Bills will win this one. We got another. This is a game from that was played last season, in about, I think, week 15. The Bills won this one against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got blown out. This was when Pittsburgh was on their 3-game losing streak, I believe, where they lost to Washington, then they lost to Buffalo, and then they lost to Cincinnati the following week. I believe that's when this was for Pittsburgh, and then they ended up beating Cleveland to end off the season. But I think Pittsburgh will be a little bit worse than last year, just due to the fact that their team is not getting younger. Juju Smith-Schuster is always kind of like big question, because of the fact that all he does is TikTok dances on people's logos. Could be, I don't think he's a bad player. I just think his antics kind of get on my nerves a little bit. But they should be fine with Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson's the 49ers cornerback on their practice squad. Sorry. Deontay Johnson, he's a good receiver. And then they got Chase Claypool. They will be fine at their receiving core. It just matters of how Ben Roethlisberger is looking for them, and also how Najee Harris can turn out as their new rookie running back out of Alabama. I think he'll be fine. I don't know about Ben Roethlisberger, though, but under Mike Tomlin, I think Pittsburgh's fine for foreseeable future. So I'm going to go, but I still am going to go with the Buffalo Bills, who have an AFC Championship run on their resume now, and the Bills should be able to win this game, and I think pretty soon we'll see who's going to be their starting running back, whether it will be Singletary or Zach Moss. And I think Buffalo is going to win this one at home on Sunday. Then we have the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Houston to take on the Texans. I think this is a game that could go either way. I see this game going to either Jacksonville. It could go to Jacksonville or it could go to Houston. I don't think this is a game where I just had to immediately come to a decision. I kind of felt like this could go both ways as far as the final result. Texans don't have Deshaun Watson, which is, if Deshaun Watson was playing and he was starting, I would say it's a given that the Texans would win. But also the Jaguars are not as bad as in years past. They have Trevor Lawrence now making his debut. However, with that being said, I do think Houston wins. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is as bad as people make him out to be. He is a downgrade from Deshaun Watson, though. I'm not saying that I'm not defending Deshaun Watson and what he did or what he has potentially done. I'm not gonna defend that, and I never will. But obviously, I would love to see Deshaun Watson make a comeback onto the field. However, I just don't think he will. Probably forever. I think his NFL career could be done, which is a shame because he was such a good young star, and I think he was budding with potential to be the next great quarterback. However, now I don't know if that will be happening as much, but it is a shame. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. This game is where I think Minnesota goes on the road and wins. I think Cincinnati has a little bit more work to do on their O-line. I think their defense is a little shaky going against a team that has a receiving core of Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Obviously, the Vikings are going to be without Irv Smith Jr., their tight end. They'll have Kirk Cousins. They'll have Dalvin Cook. I think Minnesota goes in now with a better defense than last year. I think they go into Cincinnati, take down the young offense with T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and Tyler Boyd. I don't know why I was forgetting him for some reason. But I think that the Vikings will win this one. However, I do think the Bengals will win and will do a lot better with Joe Burrow being healthy. I just don't see him winning his first game in the regular season back from a torn ACL and MCL. Just don't see it happening. Next up, we got Seattle going to Indianapolis. I have Seattle taking this one. A few weeks ago, I would have said potentially that Indianapolis would have won. However, with Carson Wentz not being at his best, Carson Wentz not playing in week one due to his surgery that he had on his foot, and Quentin Nelson's going to be out for this game, I just don't see it happening with Indianapolis. Paris Campbell is also is potentially out for this game as well. I just don't see it happening under Sam, or I think Sam. Is it going to be Jacob Eason? I think might be the starting quarterback for this team. I'm not too sure on that, though. I think it will be. But I just don't see the Colts winning against a good Seattle team that has Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett, and of course coached by Pete Carroll. And I think that the defense of Seattle is again questionable for another year, but I think under the leadership of Bobby Wagner, I think they'll be okay. And I have Seattle winning this one on the road here. And they also, according to CBS on Instagram, they have the best record or best win percentage in the Eastern time zone, which is kind of interesting. And that includes every single team in the Eastern time zone. So it's kind of interesting. Then we got the Los Angeles Chargers going against the Washington football team. I think the Washington football team will win this one. I think the Chargers' offense is good. However, I like the defensive side of football better, and Washington's defense is just going to overpower the Chargers' offense. A great defense will beat a great offense any day. And I think that Washington's offense is fine the way it is. I think Washington will win this game at home as well, gives them another advantage. I think the Washington football team will, as ridiculous as their name sounds, I do think the Washington football team will win against the Chargers. Then we got the Carolina Panthers, or the New York Jets going into Carolina to take on the Panthers. This is Zach Wilson's debut, the number 2 overall pick. And this is also head coach Robert Saleh's head coaching debut. He was a defensive coordinator with my San Francisco 49ers before this. So I'm pulling for him in New York. However, I think the Carolina Panthers do win week 1. Sam Darnold's revenge game for Carolina. They have great receiving core with Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. I think that is just outstanding. And then obviously they got Christian McCaffrey on their as their starting running back, and he's back and healthy. And then this offensive line is a little questionable, and their defense is nice and young, and I think it's better than the Jets' defense. And I think that their offense is better than the Jets' offense. So I think that the Panthers will it'll be a close game here because these two teams are not the greatest, but I do think the Carolina Panthers will win and will start off the season 1-0. Then we have the Arizona Cardinals going into Tennessee to take on the Titans, the new Tennessee Titans, with Derrick Henry, the big three of Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. Obviously, Julio Jones is not what he used to be about 5 years ago when they went to or 4 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. However, I do think he'll be fabulous with next to A.J. Brown and with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, and a lot of pressure is getting taken off of him to be that star receiver like it was in like in Atlanta. Sorry, I don't know why I was blanking. So now he's got Derrick Henry, and he's got A.J. Brown to take some of the pressure off, and Ryan Tannehill has got to have some success with, everything being fine. That offense is going to be fine for Tennessee. However, their defense is not good. So it's going to have to come down to the Titans could score 50 points and give up 40 points. They could lose in a high-scoring game because their defense just isn't good. Isn't that good. Just had a big voice crack there. That was uncalled for. But the Arizona Cardinals will be fine. I just don't like Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach. That's one more thing I do need to add to the Cardinals. This will be the first year they haven't had Larry Fitzgerald since he got drafted. So that's kind of interesting. In his prime, he would always own the 49ers, so I'm kind of happy he's not doing that anymore. Yeah, I have Tennessee winning this one in Nashville. Then we have the the Philadelphia Eagles going into Atlanta to take on the Falcons. This one is another game that I see going both ways. I think Atlanta could win this one being at home. However, Philadelphia is a little bit underrated in my mind. I do think that Atlanta will be middle of the road again. I think Philadelphia is going to be middle of the road, and they'll be average. However, I do think they'll be above people's expectations of them being 4-13 or 3-14. So I do think that they're not 4-13, and then it would be 3-14. I don't know why I was never mind. I do think they'll be above that. I think they'll probably be about 6-7 win team this year. I do think that Atlanta does take week 1 against Philadelphia. That is my personal preference here, as it is a home game for Atlanta. However, we do know Atlanta is known for choking big games. Or not big games, but just choking any game. Doesn't matter who it's against. They are always choking. And I think that is kind of funny to me, that they are always choking games, no matter what. It's kind of funny to me. Then we have one more 1 o'clock afternoon game, and that is the 49ers going to Detroit to take on the Lions. I don't like this Lions team, let's put it that way. I think they'll be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I like San Francisco. I think they'll be a wild card team. I don't think they'll win the division, as I do think the Rams are a little bit better than them. And I think they'll be right there neck and neck with the Seattle Seahawks, depending on how that defense is for Seattle. And if Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett can just produce like they did last season and the year before that. I think that they will be okay if they are able to produce that way. However, if they are not, then I think that the Seattle Seahawks will be on the level with the Cardinals or a little bit below that. But I do think San Francisco will go into Detroit and win by a sizable margin of probably about a touchdown or two, which is, I'm gonna try not to be biased with the 49ers this whole season. I'm not gonna have us going 17-0, but I'll probably have us with a decent record. I don't want us to be. I'm not gonna make us be just bad on purpose, because I think we will be, unless it happens later on down the road with injuries and stuff like that. Then I will start to predict against the 49ers. However, week one, we're a healthy team. I think we'll beat the Lions. Then next up, we got our games at the 4 o'clock starting time. So that will start off with, I believe, a 4 o'clock game with the Chiefs, or the Cleveland Browns, going to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. The Chiefs were the Super Bowl runner-up, so they got blown out by Tampa Bay last season in the Super Bowl. However, Kansas City is going to probably win this game. However, this will be a key matchup. Close game here with Mahomes, Baker Mayfield. I think it will be very close. Mahomes versus Mayfield again. Mahomes is healthy this time. Mayfield and the Browns are still healthy. They'll get Odell Beckham back. And that game was pretty close. And, however, I do think the addition of Mahomes being just fully healthy, and, I think that will just be, miles difference of Odell Beckham Jr. coming back for Cleveland. I think that Kansas City will win this one pretty easily. Or not pretty easily. I think it will be back and forth. Then we have the Miami Dolphins going to New England to take on the Patriots. The Patriots are good again. Everyone's biggest fear. They do not rebuild. They retool. I think the Patriots will win this one. They got rid of Cam Newton. Mac Jones is their starter. However, I do think Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa are probably about even with each other for me as a quarterback, because Mac Jones is a little unproven. Tua's unproven, but he's kind of like proving himself in a way, but he's not really proving himself to be too good. Miami's defense is still pretty solid, but New England's offense has gotten better. It just depends on if Mac Jones can be pretty good. He's surrounded with good weapons in Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, and Jacoby Myers. And he's got good running backs in Damian Harris. And they still have James White, so I think they'll be fine. And their defense is always the Patriots. The defense of the Patriots is always just good. That's the Patriots. The next up is the Denver Broncos going to New York to take on the Giants. This one will be a blowout. The Giants should win this one pretty easily. I don't really care that Teddy Bridgewater is the starter or if Drew Lock was the starter. It'd be a blowout for me either way. Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback. However, I don't like that. I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I need to see it in action before I can, give it, an official grading. Because Jerry Jeudy was not really good last season. In his rookie year, he's a little underwhelming. Put it that way. Noah Fant, potentially questionable for this one. However, I think Vic Fangio said today that he probably will play. So that's a good thing for them. However, with that being said, I just don't see them winning. I really don't. Then we have the Green Bay Packers going into New Orleans to take on the Saints. Actually, it might not be in New Orleans. It's probably going to be in Florida. However, I have Green Bay winning this one. Jameis Winston will be in a resurgence, trying to come back from his 30 touchdown, 30 interception season he had 2 seasons ago. However, I think in the first game with the Saints, I think they will lose, as I think it's going to be some growing pains along the way. I think this will be one of them. Devontae Adams said there's no chance an extension gets done before the season opener against New Orleans. However, there probably will be one, as Aaron Rodgers will probably get one pretty soon as well. I don't expect them to leave. However, this could potentially be the last dance for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams together in Green Bay. But I think that the Packers will go on the road and beat the Saints. Then we got Sunday Night Football. That is the Bears going to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. I think the Rams win this one pretty handily. I don't like Andy Dalton. Let's put it that way. I don't think Andy Dalton's that good of a quarterback anymore. He was in Cincinnati. Then he let kind of towards the end of his Cincinnati days. And then last year with Dallas, and then now with Chicago. Don't like him one bit. And that defense is still good. Their offense is just it's okay. And the Rams defense is really good. And their offense has just gotten better with the addition of Matt Stafford over the offseason. I think the Rams will win this one pretty handily on Sunday night. Then we got Monday night. Usually there's 2 games on Monday night. However, this year it's only one. This time it's the Ravens going into Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. I think the Ravens will win this one. However, I do think the Raiders are underrated. The Raiders should be okay this season. I think they'll win probably about 8, 9, 10 games this season. However, against a good Ravens team, I don't see it happening. The Ravens had to lose J.K. Dobbins, however, for the season. They just signed Le'Veon Bell, so I think that'll be pretty balanced, a balanced signing or balanced replacement of J.K. Dobbins. And then they have Gus Edwards, and then they have I'm trying to remember his name. I think his name's Tice. I don't even remember his name. I'm gonna have to remember that dude's name. The running back for the Ravens. I'm gonna remember his name for next week's predictions and next week's power rankings. But Lamar Jackson's there, and their receiving core is still not great. Now that they don't have Rashad Bateman for the first week of the season, but they still have Marquise Brown. They won't have Miles Boykin either. So they got Mark Andrews, and I think that with that run, their offense with Lamar Jackson, I think the Ravens will be fine. However, I do think it'll be a lot closer than people do think. The Raiders, people were making a big deal about Tanner Muse getting cut the other day. Tanner Muse is unproven, and they signed KJ Wright, and it's like, which one would you rather have? For me, I'd rather have KJ Wright, and my dad, who's a Raiders fan, would also rather have KJ Wright. So it's kind of. I think that's the smarter decision to keep KJ Wright. That's just me personally. But that's it for this week. I'll see you guys all on Tuesday with my power rankings for week 2. And then on Wednesday will be next week's predictions, or maybe even Thursday. Because as long as my predictions come out before the end of the first quarter on Thursday, I am fine, in my opinion. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week.